What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my prize picks breakdown for UFC Vegas 87. We got Shamil Gaziev going against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. We are back in the Apex. We got an 11-fight card. Kind of a weird card. A card we've had a bunch of cancellations, a bunch of short notice replacements, but should be a good card nonetheless. I'm looking forward to this card. Before we get into it, if you guys can please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down your favorite prize picks play of the week. I'm always interested to see what you guys have to say, what you guys are on, so comment down there. And other than that, if you guys are new to prize picks and want to check it out, use promo code DFSBTN and you'll get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. It's free money. It helps me. It helps you. And yeah, we're going to go through this card from a prize picks perspective today, starting as always with the significant strikes. And the first play that sticks out has moved a tad. I think this opened up around like 62.5, but I still like it here. Umar Nurmagomedov, significant strikes, 57.5, and I think there's a lot of scenarios where, this less can hit, and I always like when that's the case, where there's a lot of paths, for a play to hit. The first path is fairly obvious. Umar Nurmagomedov gets this fight down to the mat and controls this fight for a long portion of time, or, ultimately finishes the fight. The second scenario is I think Umar can potentially hurt, this guy on the feet. I think he can get him out of there by knockout. I think he can get him out of there by a club and sub. Baghdad, he's not bad, but, Umar's just going to be better everywhere. Wherever this fight takes place, Umar is going to be the better fighter, the better striker, the better wrestler, the better grappler, and I have a feeling once he does get this fight down to the mat, the sub will be there. So I just don't see a reason why Umar would need to go out there and strike with this guy for 15 minutes. I think he's going to take him down, and when he does, I think the sub's live. Baghdad's been submitted in his only loss, so yeah, give me the less here on the Umar Nurmagomedov significant strikes at 57.5. Moving on, we have a very interesting one here. I think this is the lowest. I want to double check the lowest significant strikes on the entire card. Yes, it is. Muhammad Mokaev less than 23.5 significant strikes. Believe it or not, Muhammad Mokaev, I think, has 5 or 6 UFC fights at this point. Never has he ever got more than 23.5 significant strikes, and I don't really see why that changes here against Alex Perez. Obviously, Muhammad Mokaev doesn't want to strike with anybody. That includes like the Malcolm Gordons, that includes the Jafel Filios, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sure why he would want to go out there and strike with Alex Perez, who probably has a striking advantage. Alex Perez, very hard leg kicks, has some power on the feet, solid striking. Mokaev's going to get this fight down to the mat. We know Mokaev's game at this point. This is a guy that wants to go out there, get the fight down to the mat, and I think there's a clear path here for Mokaev in terms of getting that submission. Alex Perez has been tapped out in those last 2 fights. Alex Perez has been tapped out in 5 of his losses. So, yeah, I think Mokaev gets his fight down to the mat and probably taps out Alex Perez. I don't really see any reason why he should go out there and strike with Alex Perez for long periods of time, and that's not something he does in general. So, yeah, I like the less on Muhammad Mokaev significant strikes. It's really low, but it's one of those where I think it's still, hits the less there. And really, those were the only 2 kind of sticking out for the significant strikes that I liked. I'll move on to fight time, though. And there are a few things sticking out in terms of the fight time. The first one is going to be another Umar line here. So Umar Nurmagomedov, less than 12.5 fight time. I think he finishes here. I think he's a lot better than this guy everywhere. He's anywhere from minus 1,000, which is like the best line at this point, to minus 1,600. And like I said earlier, I think he's the better striker, the better wrestler, the better grappler. He's dangerous. He's finished the majority of his wins. The only win I don't think he's finished in the UFC was against Nate Maness, where Nate Maness kind of shelled up, kind of didn't do much the entire 15, was kind of happy to just survive. But, Baghdad, I've seen him hurt. Baghdad, I've seen him submitted. And I think Umar's just on another level. I think he goes out there and gets a statement. I think he needs a statement. Umar is a guy that, a lot of people think this guy's going to be champion. And I'm probably one of those people as well in the future. So, yeah, I think Umar goes out there and makes a statement. Less than 12.5 minutes, I think he gets the finish there. And if Baghdad was to win, I guess it would be some type of flukish, knockout win in his own right. So I think that covers Baghdad as well. But I fully expect Umar to get this done inside the distance. Next, we'll go to another Mokaev. We'll go to Mokaev, fight time less than 12.5 minutes. This is a play where I have concerns about Alex Perez. A lot of concerns about Alex Perez. Where is Alex Perez's head at? Where's his mindset? Does he want to do this anymore? I mean, Alex Perez has 2 fights in like the last 4 years, and those 2 fights have combined for like 3 minutes of cage time, right? He's went in there against Davis and got subbed in round 1. Went in there against Pantoja, got subbed in round 1, which obviously very good fighters, but, Alex Perez, he's 31 years old at this point. He's pulled out of dozens of fights at this point. If he's not 100% bought in, I mean, Makhachev is the much younger, the much hungrier guy here, and this could very well end very quickly for Alex Perez. If Alex Perez is showing up for a potential paycheck, Makhachev's probably going to run through him. So I like Makhachev here to, finish this fight less than 12.5 minutes. And if Alex Perez wins, we've seen Alex Perez snatch up some submissions. We've seen Makhachev put in some bad spots on the mat. Maybe Alex Perez can land a big shot, but I'm more so of the opinion of Makhachev does get this fight down to the mat and probably submits Alex Perez for the 6th time of his career. And then the last one we're going to go with a more, and we're going to take the Christian Leroy Duncan more than 6.5 minutes. Yeah, so if this fight does go less than 6.5 minutes, it's probably a Claudio Ribeiro first-round knockout. But Christian Leroy Duncan, he's never been knocked out. He's extremely tough, extremely durable. And Duncan's one of those guys where he doesn't really rush the finish. He kind of lets the finish come to him. He'll take his time in there. We saw in his last fight against Dennis Tuolua, just took his time, pushed him against the cage, got him tired, and then, started to really put it on him and finished him late second round. I'm kind of seeing the same thing here. I think it'd be wise and I think it'd be smart, which Duncan's a very smart fighter, to push Ribeiro against the cage, fight smart early on, and just get more and more aggressive as the fight goes on. I think it's an attritional KO here for Christian Leroy Duncan, late second, third round, and at that point, this more than 6.5 minutes is going to hit there. So give me Christian Leroy Duncan more than 6.5 minutes. I think this fight ends late second or third round. We'll move on to the takedowns, and nothing's really sticking out for the takedowns. I don't want to touch the Petrino one. Makhachev, 3.5. I think he could submit him potentially, or if this does go deep, he is getting the more. Nothing I feel great about. What I don't hate, though, is Steve Erceg less than 2 takedowns. Could Steve Erceg take down Matt Schnell? Yes, but, Matt Schnell, the best part of his game could be that striking potentially, but also Matt Schnell is a very dangerous grappler. I think if you're Steve Erceg here, what you would like to be attacking Matt Schnell at this point of his career is that chin. And Steve Erceg's a good striker. He showed it off against David Dvorak. He showed it off in his last fight as well. Steve Erceg, he's not like a murderous power puncher, but against Matt Schnell, I really don't think you need to be. I see Steve Erceg finishing Matt Schnell. I think it could be a club and sub. I think he could potentially even knock him out. I mean, Matt Schnell's been finished in 6 of his 7 losses. The chin is a big worry. He's only getting older. He's only taking a lot more damage. I think Steve Erceg, probably I'm thinking it's a club and sub. Club and subs, Matt Schnell. I don't think he's going to need 3 takedowns to get this guy out of here. I really don't. Could he get 1? Sure, but I don't really think he needs, more than 1. You know what I mean? So, yeah, give me Steve Erceg less than 2 takedowns. And finally, we'll have the fantasy score. A couple ones sticking out here. The first one is going to be, we'll go Javid Basharat. Fantasy score, 98.5. I'm taking the less here. This is a Ayman Zahabi fight. Ayman Zahabi fights are really slow-paced, not a ton going on, unless he gets a knockout, which I don't think that's the case here. Yeah, Javid's been a decisionator in the UFC. Outside the UFC is a different story, but, Zahabi's super tough. I think Javid can maybe mix in a takedown or 2, but I don't really see him finishing Zahabi. I don't really see him landing a ton of volume because he really doesn't need to against Zahabi because Zahabi's just so low volume himself. So I kind of see this fight playing out a lot more slow-paced than past Javid Basharat fights. I see this going to decision. I think 98.5 is way too high. We'll go to another fight that I don't think is going to be too exciting. Eric Anders, 94.5 fantasy score. I'm taking the less there as well at the Jamie Pickett fight. And really, it's an Eric Anders fight. I mean, this fight has like cage pushing written all over it. And on PrizePicks, you don't get points for control time. I can see Eric Anders holding Pickett against the cage. I can see him taking him down, holding him on the mat. I can see this fight just being very boring with not a lot going on. Eric Anders doesn't really have that much urgency. Could he finish Pickett? Sure, but he's not really finishing a ton of guys outside of like a Dawkins or a Vinicius Moreira. So I like Eric Anders by decision. I think it's going to be a slow-paced, boring type fight, and 94.5 is a little bit too high for my liking. And then finally, I'm going to take a a third less. I'm going to take Christian Leroy Duncan less than 109.5. It's a lot. For a guy in Christian Leroy Duncan who, like I said, he takes his time in there. I can see him pushing Ribeiro against the cage, holding him there. I can see him dragging this fight into the second to the third round. I can see this being a slower paced fight because you don't want to go out there and get into an absolute firefight with Claudio Ribeiro. I mean, if you do that, he might potentially get knocked out. So I see, Christian Leroy Duncan slowing down the pace of the fight, fighting smart, dragging it to the second to the third round. I think this 109.5 is way too high for him. So Christian Leroy Duncan less than 109.5. There you guys have it. Thank you for watching. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Check out PrizePicks if you're new. Promo code DFSBTN. And again, let me know in the comments what you guys are liking. Curious to hear what you guys are on this week. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later.